Live League Game of the Day, featuring Joltspikes as Lash versus new1234 as Lash.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Semi-original guy here, aka Mr. Cannon from AWBW, bringing you another Live League Game of the Day. Today, folks, we got ourselves a map. A map called Delayed Salvation between Mr. Joltspikes right there and Mr. new1234 right there. As you can see, they are very tiny today, folks, because I had to make this map fit on screen. And that is exactly what we did, folks. We have ourselves a triple base airport and comm tower support matchup, folks. Comm towers are at the end and top corner and bottom corner of the map, way in the back. So there is pretty much no possible way of having the comm towers get flipped, more or less. I don't think that is going to happen. So we have ourselves a Lash mirror, folks. As you can see, I think Lash would actually be pretty good on this map, mostly because we have a lot of terrain and a lot of 0-star terrain at the exact same time. So attacking and defending is going to be critical in this map. But this is also a very weird map. It's very choke pointy and it's very delayed when it comes to vehicles, but it's also very front shiftable. And there's ports in the middle, so you know it's going to be good. You know when there's a port in the middle of the map, it is going to be good, folks. You can bet your bottom dollar on that one. But anyway, so Joltspikes and new1234, they're two very good players. I think new is actually number one when it comes to Live League right now. This man's like an absolute monster when it comes to the game. And I vow that one day I might even defeat him at one point, but it probably won't happen. But we'll try, folks. We'll try. We'll try. Indeedio. But as we can see here, this would be considered a strong side over here. This would be considered a weak side over here, but we do have access to the airport. So you will be able to have a base airport attacking two bases over here. But in general, this is going to be a very centralized fight with a lot of front shifting on both sides. So depending on what the positions are looking like, it's just going to be front shifts, folks. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, folks. This is not an extremely long game. It's actually a little bit of a shorter game. But I thought it was interesting enough that we should probably give it some attention. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what went down in the Live League today. On the first few days, folks, you all know the deal. It is standard infantry builds, because you gotta get the infantry on the field. It's the #1 priority in Advanced Wars by Web. #2 priority Advanced by Web is make sure you like and subscribe to the channel for all that hot Live League action. And the 3rd priority is flip and rock out when a sick beat is being played, folks. That is the 3rd priority. Anytime you hear a sick beat in Advanced by Web, you better start banging your head like you're at a concert, because it is an absolute wonderful time. Alrighty, so not really a whole lot of progression just yet, folks. Mostly just backcapping a lot of properties. So this is kind of telling me that this is not really a rush to the front lines kind of a map. It's more of a gather your income and then push in with tanks, which is what new1234 is doing. He's gathered his income. Now he's going to be pushing in with a tank. With Joltspikes, he's got 12k right now. He's going to be able to get that 2nd and 3rd tank of the game here very, very soon. And he's decided to go weak side. Oh, but Joltspikes. That's interesting. So Joltspikes is also going recon. And recon is actually a lot more strong than you think on this map, because he's able to get all the way up here and deny this property right away. So that's pretty cool. Let's see if it works out for him, though, because new1234, you know, he's a strong guy. He's a strong player. Let's see what he does in order to counter such recon shenanigans over here. Got a mech. Alright, so no counter to the recons yet, but he's not falling for the bait of going in and letting the recon just willy-nilly interrupt him. So you gotta respect the guy for that. Alright, recon rushing in, getting the interrupt. 6-6 trade. Not the best trade in Advanced Wars by Web, I'll tell you that much. That's basically a low roll and a high roll. Actually, it's like a mid roll and then a high roll in counter attack, which is pretty crazy. This is why it's kind of difficult to go up against Lash. Now, it's difficult to go up against Lash for the same reason why it's difficult to go up against Kindle. Doing those attacks on Lash is just incredibly difficult because anytime you go in and attack, you're just dealing with like a net negative sort of an attack unless you have like some massive firepower bonus. And oh my lord. Like, let's just take a little gander here, right? So if you check out this damage calculator, you get a situation here where if you're attacking from 0-star terrain, you're only doing 38 to 44% damage, which is not very good. I mean, this is like the most average of average rolls, but considering that Lash could have potentially 30% firepower on 3-star terrain, attacking back, she's going to be doing 42 to 48, and then 50 to 56 on a low roll. So, yeah, makes it a little difficult, folks. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not the best situation to be in. But, it is a situation, I'll tell you that much. Alright. So, 6-7 trade is a little bit better, I'll tell you that much. It is a little bit better. Tank going into the middle. So, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to games like this, folks. Like, tanks, they can front shift, and they can front shift fast and aggressively. So, we already got attacks in the middle, and, like, New is just completely ignoring the threat of the tank on the right-hand side. I shouldn't say he's completely ignoring it, but he's ignoring it, like, pretty significantly. He's got the mechs in position in order to do counter damage to the tank if it so chooses to move up and attack. So let's see what Joltspikes does in retaliation to this, because he's taking a little bit of damage. He's taking some heat right now. He's got to figure out how to cool things down. Alright, we've got the recon coming in here doing the damage. Oh, putting the tank in a very vulnerable spot as well, but this is definitely bait. Joltspikes is trying to bait. He's trying to bait new1234. He's trying to get him to move in here and attack. That's what's happening. Now, a lesser player might actually move in and take this kind of a bait because he sees big damage, but I very much doubt that new1234 is going to go in on the left-hand side and take the attack. He does take the attack on the right-hand side, moves a mech into position, and then attacks from good terrain. Alright, takes out the recon instead of attacking the tank. Beautiful. Beautiful. These are the moves that define top-level players, folks. Not going for obvious tank bait and going for recon attacks instead, because recons are obviously super annoying and you got to get them off of the field. It is the number 3 priority in Advances by Web after all. Maybe the number 4 priority at this point. Yeah, it is actually the number 4 priority, not number 3. Getting my numbers mixed up here, folks. We also have an interrupt. Joltspikes sacrificing a tank to go in for an interrupt. I can understand why. I definitely can understand why, because he doesn't want new1234 to have 15,000 income. That would be very bad. Would be insanely bad. Could be like top 5 bad things. But it's going for it anyways, folks. Alright, can't stop the capture of the port, but does manage to destroy some infantry, which is not too bad. That's what you gotta be doing, folks. Gotta be destroying infantry, but it is day 10. And Joltspikes, you know, he's behind a little bit in income, but not really too much. Like, his position is not, like, too bad. But New's got a lot of spread. This man is spread like butter across his battlefield right now. And he is ready to flip and start sandwiching Joltspikes over here. Like, without a doubt. Let's see what this battlecopter decides to do. Battlecopter is kind of a... I mean, battlecopters are good. They're always good. They're always battlecopters, right? But I mean, Lash battlecopters aren't really like anything super special, but obviously like battlecopters in general are just strong, so you can't really say anything bad about them necessarily, you know. But looks like that port is about to be restolen, which is very unfortunate for Joltspikes, because yeah, it would have been pretty nice to have that port. Especially on a map like this. I mean, like, it's probably not going to happen, folks, but you know, you can get a battleship. A forward central battleship would be pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie to you, folks, it would be pretty nice, but it's probably not gonna happen. All right, New managed to spread himself pretty far over here once again, folks, just slipping in here like the butter, and puts his battlecopter in a nice little spot over here. Joltspikes taking up the terrain, occupying the space, going for some more captures here. Could be interrupted, but we'll see. We'll see if it's going to be interrupted or not. Now, if we take a look at this position over here. Now, there's probably not really going to be a lot happening over here, so we're just going to ignore this. Like, it's not going to happen. Nothing. There's actually no attacks that can happen over here. But over here, it looks like there's some potential. There could be an attack here, which would be pretty nice. There could be a double attack over here and then a double capture over here, which could be pretty significant. New is probably going to capture this. And then there is some cleanup you can do over here, but if he decides to go in for that, like, Joltspikes has 1-2 tanks, possibly 3 tanks to go in here, unless this attack does happen. But this attack happens, then this attack wouldn't have as much damage done to it. So I don't know, we're gonna have a very interesting turn here. These are some of the most important turns. Let's see what he does. So New's gonna go in there, he's gonna attack from here, do the interrupt, continues the capture of the port. Nice, nice. Then look at that. So yeah, New is having a lot of restraint over here because there was a lot of attacks that could have potentially happened. But one thing that I find, especially when in a couple games that I've been playing recently, right? It's because I'm playing a couple games recently. I've noticed that one of the things that I do, which is starting to realize very incorrect, is I go up and start brawling possibly a little bit too much, when maybe what I should do is pull back and show a little bit of restraint instead of just willy-nilly rushing my way up there and just trying to do as much damage as I possibly can. And in this situation, yeah, you could rush up and you can do as much damage as you possibly can, but it would put you in a little bit of a vulnerable state. And you're also fighting into 2 base range, which is not necessarily the best thing. So maybe that's not what we want to do. But Joltspikes, he doesn't really have a choice. He doesn't care. At this point, it's what he wants to do. He wants New to fight into base range because that's where he can get most of his value from. So that's what he wants. But whether or not it's going to happen, we'll see. Because look at that. Joltspikes, he comes in, he does the damage, but he takes a big consequence in response, and he loses the ports. He loses the port. So he did manage to go up and get the damage done, but the counterattack was too severe. Far too severe. And there's no way, like, this is definitely due to front shifting from this base over here. Without this front shift over here, this side would not have lasted this long and would not have secured victory in this way. And Joltspikes, this dude's a insanely strong player. Insanely strong. Like 15 in Live League Standard right now. Crazy, crazy good. New played this one incredibly well and managed to come out with the victory through patience and being an absolute boss. And that's about it. So, like I said, quick, but very nice. Very nice indeed. Hopefully you all enjoyed. If you did, consider leaving a like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. I will see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. And bye-bye for now.